Hello, and welcome to Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. So, I started these conversations because through my work as a midlife concierge and the community that I'm building, Mamas in Menopause, I am meeting so many amazing people who are passionate about supporting women in midlife. So, this chat series is my way of introducing them to you. You can hear their stories, you get to know them personally, and you learn about their products, their services, and what resources they offer that can make this season in life a little brighter, a little bit easier for all of us in this time. So today, I am chatting again to Dr. Neil Patel, founder of Phantom Medical, for the third time, and this is not going to be the last. He is a leading voice in functional wellness and brain health, and Dr. Patel works closely with all of his patients as well as women in midlife to help them understand the connections between hormones, metabolism, and weight changes, and how to support them long term. So, today's topic, with the rise of GLP-1 and a growing awareness of how hormone shifts in perimenopause and menopause, I wanted to ask you some of these questions that are just burning in all of our mind right now. And I know, Dr. Patel, you believe food is medicine, and so do I, but sometimes we need some help. So, what is happening in our bodies during midlife, and how is it that we can't maintain? We're having more challenges losing weight. So I just kind of wanted to throw that all that and know that we're going to preface this with what the heck is happening to us and what about GLP-1s? So welcome.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks again for having me, Meredith. It's third time already. It's been great. And yeah, as you know, yes, I'm a true believer. Food is medicine, but I'm not anti-medicine. If you need it, you take it. With women, especially as they start getting, menopausal, premenopausal, we've touched on this in previous episodes where estrogen, which is the master hormone for women, you start to goes down and then it basically turns off. Imagine you have a factory and the boss leaves. Now all of a sudden everybody's panicking. Maybe people get lazy. All right. The employees don't have direction all of a sudden. Things stop working as efficiently. That's kind of what menopause is like. The factory is
Ah,
still on, but who's controlling it now? And this is where it becomes tricky and why a lot of women suffer or struggle with weight loss, mood changes, insomnia, whatever, you name it. So that's
yeah,
kind of the background. Um,
yeah.
mhm.
So like our hormones are shifting. So you were just saying the main master, hormone is our estrogen. But all of them, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, they're all impacting metabolism, sleep, and our energy levels. So I guess let's kind of start a little bit with some basics as far as what's kind of going on with us. And then we'll tap into a little bit about maybe how these medications can help if we're struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's think. So obviously, estrogen is a hormone, but I always say I don't think we have as much of a genetics problem this time or in our lives as much of a hormone problem. Let's think about
Mm,
it. People on estrogen replacement, progesterone, people take testosterone, cortisol hormone, insulin hormone, thyroid hormone, all of these things are hormones. You're
mm,
basically having a synchronized dance in the body. So if one partner leaves, now everybody else has to shift. Sometimes that's why women get thyroid problems during menopause. So estrogen's gone, so now the thyroid is like, I have to work harder or it's not working hard enough. Things start
mm,
to shift. So in general, once the boss has left, now all the managers are all promoted to being a boss. You might have conflict amongst the different hormones. So our goals are always for our women, for my women patients to try to balance what we can. The other major
mm.
hormones, of course, insulin, cortisol is what we look for. And of course, these medicines, as you touched on, GLP-1s, like, I mean, who hasn't heard of that nowadays? Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah.
Ozempic, Wegovy, more importantly, or the more new ones, Mounjaro and Zepbound, they kind of work on different hormones in our guts and our brain.
Mm. Okay, so as you're thinking about it, then who would they be appropriate for? Because I think a lot of people are thinking like this is this magic pill. And it can be, and there are some, I'm assuming there are some health benefits. It's not just to shed the belly fat that we're all frustrated about. But who should really be considering the GLP-1s?
Yeah, so obviously, let me preface yet again, no medicine is a substitute for healthy living and healthy lifestyle, but honestly, a lot of people could benefit. Anybody who's usually overweight, maybe obese, obviously with weight loss, these medicines have been phenomenal. I've seen like quite impressive weight loss stories. 30, I'm not talking like 5 pounds, 30, 40, 70 pounds of weight loss.
Wow.
So anybody who struggles with weight in general, and it's interesting. I have patients who struggle with, diabetes, even sometimes the thyroid issues. I don't put them on just for that, but we do sometimes see improvements with their sugar levels, their cholesterol levels, sometimes even the thyroid levels after placement.
Mm.
Usually we do the standard dosing. There's been a lot of questions about microdosing, which may be more, I believe, maybe more effective for that inflammation and hormone control, but I don't technically recommend that at this time because I don't have a proper dosing regimen for that.
Yeah. So going back to that hormones, and do they support, do they replace any hormone, or is that just something completely different? Just to help me understand.
It still doesn't replace anything. It's kind of like another person enters a dance. Maybe now we have a different partner that everybody synchronizes, right? So that's the
Mm,
idea. It may be more for synchronicity more than replacement, in a
okay,
sense. Hmm.
that makes sense. So then let's think about this. Then what should we be worried about? What kind of contraindications or what kind of risks would there be?
Yeah, so all of these drugs that work kind of with insulin, there's always this concern for thyroid cancer. It's very like medullary thyroid carcinoma, a very, very small percentage usually.
Mm,
So those are some things we tend to just preface, but honestly, to be quite honest, the benefits significantly outweigh the risks. Some side effects, usually when I tell my patients, I say, you might get some nausea, you might get some upset stomach. So you usually want to eat light the day, sometimes before, and the day of the shot. Luckily,
mm,
the shots are usually once a week, so it's not that bad. And
okay.
then I tell my patients, you gotta do your part. Because I've seen now, you're gonna lose weight. Very exciting, great. But you will lose some muscle. And patients
Yeah.
sometimes get weak. And that's a whole
Yeah.
big issue that I have.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
that's what I was going to touch on that too. Like, as we're wanting to support take these medications if it is something that is needed, but really, how do we support our metabolism naturally so that you're right? Yeah, this person's been introduced into this dance, but now this person is not left, this hormone or medic is not left to dance on their own. So, how does someone, as far as their nutrition, their exercise, their lifestyle, how do we support that one dancer that just can't do it all alone?
Yeah, great question, right? So it's a team effort. No one wants to
Mm.
dance on the dance floor alone. So our goal is to, number one, eating wise, the medicine itself will naturally make you want to eat less. It decreases your desire. But let's say
Mm.
you have maybe you got a sweet tooth. All right, I want to eat that piece of cake. Oh, I ate a piece. I'm gonna go for another piece. Usually people will go for it with this medicine. They're like, you know what? Maybe I don't. Something called
Mm.
food noise tends to get like quieted for a lot of my patients who struggle with their relation with
Mm.
food. Right? I think we've talked about how food to me is not a thing, it's a relationship. And so a lot of people, I have a patient. She's like, I'll eat breakfast, and while I'm eating breakfast, I'm thinking about, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat for lunch? What am I going to eat for dinner? I can't wait to eat the next snack. It's like
Mm.
a compulsion. So this kind of brings that down. So I usually tell patients you want to eat protein. So that's key. Protein is
Mm.
one, and then water. You got to stay hydrated. And then, of course, when it comes to exercise, exercise is medicine. For these specific weight loss medicines, you got to do strength or resistance training. I get
Mm.
it. Everybody wants to walk, right? Oh, I walk 5,000 steps. What about the rest of our body? Do we just
Yeah.
not think about that? So you got to
Yeah.
use your muscles in your body.
It's interesting you said that that one lady that was thinking about her next meal all the time. I'm going to pencil this because I'm going to ask you for number four, our topic number four is what about people like me who forget to eat. Like I get up in the morning and I know I'm messing with my system because I don't eat this breakfast. I don't prioritize eating. I do eat. I don't know. I don't think I have an issue, but I don't think about, I feel like food is something I have to do, not that I want to do. So let's table that because I definitely feel like that's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation. I'm sure it's totally messing with my hormones and my cortisol, which is probably affecting other things and my brain health. So before I forget what I was talking about, um, how do these GLP-1s affect our gut health and the inflammation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's the whole point, right? The idea right now is GLP-1s, GIP, GLP, GIP, which is a Mounjaro and Zepbound, they work on different stomach hormones, brain hormones. Honestly, at this point, like I said, the benefits are quite impressive. The
Mm.
idea is, you lose weight, you kind of down regulate certain hormones like the cortisol, you decrease inflammation. So like I
Mm.
have patients who obviously they feel lighter, they feel better, they might have less joint pains technically. Uh,
Ooh.
so that's kind of what's happening. So like I said, that microdosing little door is starting to open or people are experimenting because like let's say they don't want to lose weight, but they want the anti-inflammatory benefits. Those are the ones that are starting to microdose.
Interesting. I was actually, when you're saying that, I was just going to ask that for people who maybe don't need to lose weight, but I do have joint
Hmm.
pain. I try with my diet and exercise to reduce inflammation, but could this also support joint inflammation and some of the joint pain, the frozen shoulder, the tendonitis, all that stuff that's going on?
I think it can, but like it's hard. I'm a doctor, so I can't sit up here and say, hey, I want people to start microdosing because there is no
Mm.
actual regimen, there's not a specific dosing. But thinking just scientifically, thinking just, medically, it does make sense. If we're getting this much
Mm.
improvement, like I said, I have patients with their cholesterol drops, their sugar drops, right? Diabetes and obesity is inflammatory by nature.
Mm.
So by them losing this weight or even dropping their sugar levels, they're technically decreasing inflammation. So
Interesting.
so my idea is that yes, there is, I can't recommend it technically, but I do see how it could work scientifically.
Okay, so then let's think about this too. You go on whatever GLP when you go on, you lose the weight, or maybe you get the benefit that you might need. Do you have to stay on this for your entire life? Is there a regimen? How does that work?
Uh, that's a struggle of every day of my job, okay? I'm
Uh,
always trying to get people off medicines. I tell all my patients there's always a way.
yeah.
My strategy is always to just start, get you going, get you where you need to go in terms of weights, your health. Then we slowly wean you off. The
Mm.
medicine is for once a week. Once we get to where you feel or the patient feels comfortable, I'm comfortable, we'll do it once every 2 weeks. Then we'll
Mm.
see. If you're good, once every month. Now,
Mm.
granted, I have people who don't do anything different in their lifestyle. So they're basically pumping air in a flat tire. So
Uh,
what happens
yeah.
is you're gonna keep pumping the air, you're eating like junk, you're not exercising, but you're losing weight. So it's almost you're
Mm.
getting the gift without the work.
Yeah.
And a lot
And
of
I think their
times,
bodies show it too. Yeah.
absolutely, it will show
Mm.
it, right? And so for me, I tell people we will find a way. Granted, there may be some, I do not expect my patients to balloon up if we completely stop. But yes, the weight can sometimes creep up. So to answer your question, at this time,
Mm.
it is technically a chronic or a long-term medicine, but hopefully not
Yeah.
as frequent long-term as it is when you start.
And they can go back on it if they needed to get back to a
Yeah.
certain goal or something like that.
Yeah, so usually the way we do it is like we'll start at the lowest dose. I always start low, go slow. We'll do it like, for example, like Zepbound or something to 2.5. We'll do it for a month. All right, you're losing weight? Great, let's stick with it. You
Hmm.
plateau, we bump you up. We kind of
Got
bump
it.
you up to kind of not the max dose, but maybe like a middle dose. Let's say they hit their number. All right, I'm great. I feel good. Okay, I don't cut you off.
Mm.
Now we stay on that high dose and every 2 weeks. Then we drop your dose, then every 2 weeks. So, right, we do a
Yeah.
very slow, stepwise fashion.
Yeah, and it's like anything else. It is you need to be responsible with any medication, especially this, and it needs to be managed. So I don't know if this is accessible by mail order like a lot of things are these days, but it is so imperative to work with a doctor who understands this medication and can support you. That's what I would take from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always tell patients, like, look, I want my patients to be healthy. And like I said, I was very against these medicines when they first came out. And I just sucked it up. And I said, all right, I made a deal
Yeah.
with myself. I said, I'll prescribe these medicines and I will take them off other medicines. So I've been
Mm,
lucky in that, let's say a patient has diabetes, put them on these meds, I've been able to take them off other stuff. So that was kind of my trade-off. But
yeah.
I got to preface this for your viewers, like, please don't chase a number. Weight
Mm,
loss, there's something very magical and psychological about weight loss, and it
mm,
sells. Once you
yeah.
hit your target number, then what? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
That is the biggest
Yeah.
question. Mhm.
Yeah, it really is how you feel in your skin, your mind feels now, and just be comfortable. That's one of the things, funny enough, in our topic for November is body and self-image for my mom is in menopause. And it's being okay with who you are and this body that you're now in. Do we need to make some changes? Maybe. But first and foremost, mentally be okay with who we are now. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of body positivity, a lot of influence from the media to look a certain way. We're being bombarded by these weight
Yeah.
loss medicines. Everybody seems to be on them. And then you got all this food. So how do we
Yeah.
find the happy medium, right? You have to
Yeah.
find peace within yourself first.
Yeah, well, good thing my Hawaiian Tropicanic contract is over because no, just kidding. So I guess I just kind of leave with if someone feels stuck and just kind of confused about options, whether it's weight loss, hormones, medication, kind of what's the first step and to kind of figure out and to get clarity and just kind of know what's safe and what can be personalized for them.
Yeah, exactly. When somebody comes in with these types of, questions or concerns, we always want to start in a stepwise process. I usually like to do like a blood work. So we know like, hey, is there something in your blood work? That's all good. Then we say, all right, what else? Then we start going through their lifestyle, food, stress, diet, exercise. That's all
Mm,
good. Then we say, all right, that's not working, then we start opening these doors, right? But
yeah,
the truth is, a lot of times there's a lot of power within those four pillars. I have to say, stress is very underrated and very neglected. So a lot of people
yeah,
just bury it, and that tends to affect. I just saw something where stress is probably more powerful than like cigarettes, alcohol, you name it. Like I wouldn't
yeah,
be surprised.
yeah,
So there's always a way, there's always a plan. For my patients. Sorry about that. But I always try to tell them, don't chase a number, chase the lifestyle. And so that's
love
kind of
it.
how we look at it.
Great advice. Every time we talk to you, I just learned so much. Before we wrap up, I know there's ways to get a hold of you. We'll put them in the show notes, but what's the best way for people to contact you?
Yeah, you can always call our office here if you'd like to be a patient or just kind of learn more. Our office number 714-771-2800. But if you're interested in this type of content, as you know, I have my social media at Dr.
Yep.
Neil H. Patel. That's Neal H. Patel. I post a lot of short videos like this that can help hopefully be practical and help you help yourself so you don't have to see me as often.
Yeah. And you're on all socials. I watch you all the
Thank
time.
you.
I love when I see your face pop up because I know I'm going to learn something super important. So thank you so much for joining me once again. This is not the last time I'm going to bug you to talk to my community. I really value your expertise, your wisdom, your time. So thank you. And to thank everyone watching, thank you for joining us for Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. And until next time, remember you are not alone in this midlife journey. Here's some more hot flashes, cool chats, and meaningful conversations. Bye for now.
Thank you.